try to like collab it all, you know?
Gotcha.
But it's such a nice day out.
So do you edit your own stuff too?
Yeah, I do everything on my own. So,
Nice.
yeah. Cool.
Something that just connects people's brains when you're talking. So if a bunch of interviews end up having a bunch of stories in them, you know what I mean?
All right, so Coach Joe here in the wilderness, getting lost, Blair Witch Project 4 style with my man Evan.
What's going on?
So we were actually just discussing on how we came to meet each other. And it's kind of funny because we kind of don't really know, but we do, sort of, through mutual friends, through network marketing. Now, with network marketing, that motivates us to become entrepreneurs. So I think that's kind of what we share in common, is we're both entrepreneurs. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of take this nature walk, talk about some things, some topics. You're going to get to know Evan real well. I'll give you all his contact information throughout this or at the end, and we're going to enjoy some nature at High Rocks, Ralph Stover, if you guys have ever been there. That's where we're at right now. Peace. All right, so we just found a nice little cave overlooking a beautiful view. So Evan, we're chilling in this sick little bat cave we got going on. Tell us a little bit about yourself, my man.
So what's going on, guys? My name's Evan Transue. Just turned 21. I got interested in health and wellness at about 16. You know, I was just doing, I don't even know how I found it. I was doing some research online, came across GMOs, genetically modified organisms, and it really just kind of took off from there. I kind of ignored everything. You know, I knew about it, but I didn't practice it until like 18. And, you know, until I got something, a health condition that was, you know, too extreme for me to ignore anymore. And as I changed that through diet and health, I started to realize that's kind of the truth. So, you know, my journey today is basically continuing to heal my own body. I still got some things I'm dealing with. And then, you know, sharing that truth with other people so that they can experience the same thing.
All right, my man, so you talked about a condition that you had that kind of opened your eyes and your mind up to that health and the way you eat is important, right? So what exactly did you have? What did you go through, and how is it helping you now?
So at about 18 and a half years old, I started getting this like debilitating vertigo. And vertigo, for those of you that don't know, is like dizziness, but except like if I was sitting here right now and looking at you guys, it would feel like I'm sitting like that. Even though I'm sitting straight, you guys would look like that. So it can be pretty debilitating at times. There's times that, you know, you can't go out because of it. You know, you have to lay down. You have to take some kind of medication, Dramamine or something like that. And the first thing that the doctor did was tell me that I had this thing called Meniere's disease. And he handed me this sheet of paper and saying, like, basically to not eat so much salt. That's all he said. So he wanted me to also take this medication. And I knew it would lower blood pressure. It says it right on the bottle. I already had low blood pressure. Me being kind of stupid because I didn't really know that any better at the time, I just tossed that stuff and then I never took it. And I started doing my own research. So I found out Meniere's, long story short, is an idiopathic term. It just represents, it's a name for a set of symptoms. It's not, you can't swab someone and say, oh, you have Meniere's disease. So I started doing my own research and I found out people were eating, you know, regimented amounts of salt, if you will. So like 300 milligrams every 3 hours or something like that. And I tried that for about 6 months and it worked, you know, pretty much in the first month. I didn't experience the vertigo anymore. I would also get fullness in my ear, like kind of an ear popping sensation, and I didn't get that anymore. The thing was, when I went out with friends or if it was a holiday and I had dinner with family, anytime I would go over that salt threshold, over that, about 500 milligrams is my limit, I would start getting dizzy and I'd start getting vertigo again. And, you know, it wasn't until I wanted that to stop that I actually went full all organic, started eating like way more vegetables, because at that time I was still kind of eating processed foods. I was just monitoring my salt. And I really stopped trying to eat regular salt. I'd only eat sea salt and stuff like that. And sure enough, I don't know when it happened. It was somewhere between like 6 months and a year of doing that. I went out and had a meal with friends, or family first actually. And I noticed I was okay. Then I had a meal with friends and I noticed that was okay. And then, you know, a few more times I'm like, holy crap, like I cured this, if you will. I mean, it's kind of hard to say you cured something that's an idiopathic term. But it's really cool now to be able to know I can go out and, you know, we were just at Disney World with my family and the whole week I'm eating like crazy and I'm not experiencing any symptoms. So for me, that was kind of like the huge turning point where I'm like, whoa, like this is real. Like diet, health, wellness, lifestyle has the power to, you know, really shape, you know, the things that we get and the things that happen to us, and we have a lot more control over our lives than we probably realize.
All right, so Evan and I were just talking after he got done what he was saying, just about a lot of the times that when I deal with clients or people in general, they talk about the price of organic food. And I'm sure if you guys go into any food store, you're gonna see that even if it's like Nature Promise or anywhere you go where specialty, organic, the price is gonna be higher. So I'm gonna ask Evan, my man over here, what his take on that the price is higher, what does that mean to him in sense of organics?
All right, so there's a few things. One, I mean, personally, if nothing else, I would suggest you just try it for a month and then tell me if the extra money was worth it. But outside of that, I know everyone can't do that, so I have a few practical things that I think everyone can use. One is buy whole foods, like real foods. So what is that? That is mainly, foods that are actually real, unprocessed. So, I mean, that doesn't mean you have to be vegan or vegetarian or paleo or whatever. Real meat that's just coming from the farmer, that's real whole food in my opinion. Brown rice that's not coming in a package, you can buy bulk at these stores, specialty stores. It comes right out of that. So buying whole foods like that, vegetables that aren't coming in like little containers, untouched basically, right from the farm to the people. That's one where you'll save huge amounts of money that way. Because you go into an organic store and if you try to buy the processed stuff like an organic granola bar or something, of course it's going to be more because you're paying for the exact same processing and then you're just buying an organic version. So that's going to be more. But other things too, if you want already trying to buy the whole foods and it's still too expensive for you, one big thing that people don't know about, they're called CSAs. They're everywhere. If you're watching this in the USA, countrywide, they're community supported agricultures. So you basically just go, search that on Google, you'll find one locally. You can pay $500 to $750 for the year from a CSA, and they will give you food, vegetables, sometimes eggs, sometimes meats, from the beginning of the season to the end. So I think this year at the one, I don't go to one because I don't mind just going to my health food store and doing it. But the one in Doylestown was like from March or something to October. You can pay $500 and they're giving you multiple pounds of vegetables every single week right to your family. I mean, you add that up, that's pretty damn cheap. And, in addition, I think trying to eat a little more on the incorporating more vegetables, not necessarily vegetarian or vegan, but maybe not 6 servings of meat per day, you'll find that you actually save a lot more money than, going out. And I mean, I can go on forever, but I think that's two of the biggest things is eating whole foods and then, finding things in your community like CSAs where they're tailoring to people, that might not be able to afford, the $10 jar of peanut butter or something.
That's banging. CSAs. I didn't even know about that, so I just learned something. On top of the fact that my shoulders aren't strong enough to hold this damn camera up long enough. All right, so Evan, so how do you eat in general? Like, do you follow like a paleo? Are you a vegan, vegetarian? What's your deal?
So I've experimented with almost everything at this point except like fruitarian. I don't think there's any validity to that. It's like just when you only eat fruit, you don't even like really eat vegetables. I think that's kind of silly, but who knows? I haven't tried it yet. Right now, as the winter kind of approaches, I'm starting to incorporate more meat into my diet. From like January 1st of this year to about early September, I'd say, I only had like meat about 10-15 times. Like 10-15 servings throughout the whole time. And for me, that was a huge change. I'd always had some kind of meat in my diet, even if it was like crappy chicken nuggets when I was in 5th grade, you know what I mean? So that was kind of weird for me going without that. And here's the thing, I felt good. But now I'm incorporating some more meat and I'm eating, like less carbs, less grains, and I still feel good. So it's kind of tough. I think the only thing for me maybe is like more whole foods. As I was saying before, I think that's kind of the biggest thing. Organic whole foods is probably a universal truth. And then there's going to be an aspect of bio-individuality in there. I believe in that for myself. As the seasons change, as my lifestyle changes, I'm going to have different needs. If I'm working out, an hour a day, 7 days a week, I'm going to need to eat differently than if I'm just chilling. I have an injury in my wrist right now and bad shin splints. I haven't really worked out in the past month. I'm not going to eat the same way that I would otherwise. I'm not going to eat as many carbs and grains and stuff like that. So, yeah, for me, that's the biggest thing. As far as advice to other people goes, I would, if there's anything I'm going to recommend, it's organic whole foods and then modify it from there. See what works for you. I would never, I don't know enough to tell anyone.
So what you're saying is that people should almost tailor their eating around their activity level, how they're feeling, if they have injuries, don't have injuries, kind of the season too as well. Like you're saying, like literally the season, whether it be summer or winter, kind of just adapting it to different situations.
Well, there's good validity to that too, because yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the biggest thing is, the biggest example, I guess, is the Inuits in Canada. Those are people, they live very far north, okay? They're living in temperatures that rarely go over above 0 degrees Fahrenheit anytime during the year, so constantly in the negatives. And they eat like 60% of their diet is not only animal products, it's animal fat. Okay, now if I ate that, I'm almost positive I'd have a heart attack within like a year or two. But those people live perfect lives. Well, I mean, until we put some processed stuff into their diet now that we're shipping up. But that's a whole nother story. Prior to that, they were living, you know, 70, 80 years old. They're fine. But then we go ahead and we look at the equator. Now, these people are eating almost strictly vegetarian diets, if not vegan diets, and that's worldwide. So that could be near South America's equator, and it can also be the equator in Africa. These people, it's not like they're communicating, say, oh, what are you eating today, bro? No, they just naturally did this, and just like the people in the north, the Inuits, did this naturally as well. So I think that has a lot to do with it, you know, where you're at in life and stuff like that. And that also has to do with...
Do they do less meat by the equator? Like you were saying?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of these people are strictly vegetarian, if not vegan.
That is crazy.
Yeah, so then as far as, you know, the seasons go, that's why I'm kind of looking at it. It's like, all right, well, we live in the Northeast, Joey and I. That's kind of like a mix between the two, because, you know, it probably will at one point this winter maybe go a little below 0, you know, or stick around there. Well, vegetables wouldn't have grown during that time, you know, so it's impractical to say I'm going to be a vegetarian or vegan the whole winter. But in the summer, you know, crops are
tons of them,
plenty out here. So it's kind of tough. It's kind of cool. I like studying it. It is tough to give like one answer, but I think that is the right track. I think that's where the science is going as far as the seasons and lifestyle adaptation to your diet goes.
All right, so my question for Evan is, if there's one thing that all people should avoid and how to do it, what would it be? So we're going to bank it over to him.
Okay, so I'd say, if anything, the one thing that everyone should remove from their diet is, well, specifically non-organic processed foods. At least the organic processed foods are not perfect, but they're not going to affect you as bad. The non-organic processed foods that we're eating, let's say like a chewy granola bar or something, the ingredients in there are unrecognizable to the body. They're causing all kinds of distress. We wonder why all these people are on Prilosec, or we live off Tums or Pepto-Bismol or something. 74% of people, knowingly or unknowingly, have some kind of digestive disorder. I have a problem with my digestion right now. That's been one of my biggest troubles trying to fix. So I wouldn't wish this upon anyone, because I know how hard it is to fix once you actually care enough to do something about it. So I would recommend getting away from all of that, more so than anything else. And unfortunately, because like Joey was saying, how do we avoid that? It is kind of tough, because of course the chewy granola bar is always going to be more convenient than sitting at home and, you know, cooking up brown rice and meat or whatever it is that you're cooking up. Like I said, I would give yourself, really, I know this isn't the perfect answer, but I would give yourself really the chance to experience what it feels like to not eat that way, and then tell me if you want to go back. I think personally you'll have so much energy from eating the other way that you won't, you know, need the quick fixes, because you'll feel good enough to, you know, go out and cook it or something. And at the very least, maybe give the organic processed foods a try, you know, the organic granola bar. It's going to cost more money, but you're taking away so many artificial ingredients that are probably wreaking havoc on your insides that it is totally worth it.
Banging. All right, so all the stuff that he's saying is hitting home for me. I'm learning a lot. I like picking this kid's brain. He knows what the hell he's talking about with the organic stuff, and he's so passionate about it. So my biggest question for him right now is, what could he do for me, Joey, the killer athlete, and how can he help me in his service?
So the biggest thing that I do for people right now, because for myself, the reason I don't have a ton of services that I offer myself, I want to get into speaking, you know, to educate people more or less, but I don't offer many things online right now. And the reason for that is because, like I said, I'm still fixing my own digestive issues. I would never want to mislead someone. And I'm kind of a perfectionist with it. You know, once I'm completely done with that, sure, I'll, you know, write my own programs and stuff like that. For now, what I do, you know, I kind of endorse a company, if you will. It's called Purium. They offer a 10-day cleanse. That by far is one of the best things I know. If I'm ever feeling like crap, if I ever, you know, go out, like I said earlier, a week in Disney with the family and need to clean out, I bought one right after that. It is one of the quickest ways and most efficient ways I know to take yourself from here, you know, the SAD diet, which is standard American diet, processed food, all this crap, to, wow, like I actually feel pretty good and I lost some weight. And I also like how the company, they offer, or excuse me, they guarantee losing 5 to 20 pounds in the 10 days, guaranteed 60-day money back guarantee. So I really like that. And I like representing them because, you know, they have the scientists, they have the doctors backing that, they know what they're talking about for sure. And, you know, as I'm on my own mission, you know, I'll start offering more stuff. But for now, that's one of the only things I offer people 100% of the time because I know it works.
All right, so everything that he's saying, amazing stuff. Now the thing is right now I'm 23, I think I'm 23, I'm 23. And I have no issues my way right now, normally with like anything crazy with health. So by me going out and eating Oreos, is it gonna affect me? I think no. But if I kept doing that for years and years and years, I may have some health repercussions. So what we're trying to say is take care of yourself now, because in the future you may run into these issues. So he's going to touch more upon that and why we want to be eating healthier, fueling our body with the right nutrients so that later down the road we ain't dying and having all these problems.
Oh, no, he's totally right, because, and it's kind of hard though, because, you know, you do only live once. For all we know, you know, something could happen. You could go at any time. So why would you not enjoy your life, quote unquote, you know, while you're here? And I think the biggest thing is too that people don't realize what's happening right now. Like they don't realize what's going on in their bodies and why it's happening. Guys, poor health, even if it's just minor, shows itself up as headaches, as depression, as anxiety, as Meniere's disease, as skin breakouts, as a little tummy, you know what I mean? All these different things. And I've been able to cure myself so far 4 out of 5 of those things. I had awful anxiety in high school, panic attacks, panic disorder, awful depression. All these things I cured through lifestyle. Now, I don't sell it as a cure. I'm not going to go out and tell people just do that. You should never take a medication. I think that's ignorant. But it worked for me. You know what I mean? It works for a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there like that. So not only focusing on the long term, but focusing on the here and now and realizing these minor ailments that we take, you know, the SSRI for, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor for depression and anxiety, the Motrin for the headaches that's actually destroying our gut and we don't realize. It's just not good stuff, and we don't want to live like that. We don't want to just have these symptoms and then, you know, take a pill for it when it can be cured other ways. And then in terms of long term, I think one of the scariest things is that what we are doing right now, this is the only fact that you guys can take from all this, because all the other stuff, you know, it's controversial. What we're doing right now is not sustainable. We have factory farming, producing a lot of the low quality meats for fast food restaurants and restaurants in general. That's destroying rainforests, it's polluting areas of the country, you know, and I'm not trying to sound like a hippie. I'm not a hippie. I mean, this is just a fact. It's destroying the environment. It's not sustainable. Infertility rates are going higher solely in the countries that are eating this type of stuff. So soon we might not be able to fully reproduce.
That ain't good.
That's a serious problem, you know, or kids are coming out sicker. Like I said, by 2030, under 18, 1 in 2 people will be on a lifelong medication for some kind of chronic disease. I mean, that's a problem. Would you want to put your kid into the world knowing that if you had made better decisions, they wouldn't be on this medication? Because they don't have a choice. The 5-year-old doesn't know any better. They're going to give, or they're going to get what you give them. So I think trying to think about the big picture of it all, not only long term, but right now, realizing what you can do right now for your health and stuff, and then thinking about the future generations. We need to do that. You know, get involved, learn more about it. I'm getting into blogging and stuff like that. I'm starting to submit more of my own content online.
Yeah, where can we find you right now, as of what you got on going on?
www.healthcoachev.com. I'm sharing what I'm learning, or facebook.com/healthcoachev. Also on Instagram as well, @healthcoachev. I'm sharing articles, even if it's not from me, you know, I'm sharing articles from people that know what they're talking about, and, you know, you can educate yourself and learn through that. So I hope you go do that.
So Organic Health Coach Ev.
You know,
oh man, that's 3 thumbs up. All right, I always love these spot questions because they don't know what I'm gonna ask. First one, if you could be a superhero, who would you be and why?
Oh, that's tough. I guess Superman, because I'd like to fly to different areas of the world really quick so I can learn from there and then go back to another spot and learn from, you know, that area, I guess.
All right, Health Coach Ev, what's your kryptonite then?
Oh, sugar, man. I do love sugar. I wish it wasn't a thing.
Me too. It's so addicting.
Yeah, if I didn't know all the, you know, cons of it, I'd sit around and continue like I did when I was younger and just, you know, eat a bag of M&Ms every day.
Superman killing all the sugar in the world.
Yeah. Okay.
Hillary or Trump?
No comment. No one's talking about GMOs. No one's talking about your food. No one's talking about your health. 67% of you are overweight or obese. 25% of people will go on an SSRI in their lifetime. I'll vote for whoever wants to talk about that.
Yeah, that one was for Pat Stacy.
Yeah.